Aneke Television today is our regular platform where we meet to take on burning topical issues and matters in society. Yes, of course, here we host analysts, we host guests who come to offer their thoughts, their opinions on burning topical issues and matters in the society. And today, our searchlight is beaming on Nigerian democracy. How far, how well? As a matter of fact, you may well know, dear viewer, that June 12th has now been designated as Nigerian Democracy Day. Yes, it usually used to be May 29th, until the last administration under the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, had to recognize the role played by the late MKO Abiola, who died in the course of the struggle. Yes, of course, if you are conversant with the stories around June 12th and the history associated with it. So today we want to look at our journey with democracy in Nigeria. And our guest today is no other person than a man who's been at the state legislative wing, where he was part of lawmaking processes. We're talking about Honorable Marcel Njeze, a former member of the Enugu State House of Assembly, where he represented Udi North constituency in the State Assembly here in Enugu State. Honorable, you're welcome to our studios.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure having
Chris.
you, sir.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, so my name is Chris, and I'm asking you to please hold on as we launch this show. Democracy, it means a lot of things to a lot of people. But then, for Marcel Njeze, who is our guest today, we want to start with him on that note. Honorable Njeze, I don't know, a lot of persons have defined democracy, but then we understand that their definitions and explanations are based on the side of the fence they are seated. But for you, what would democracy mean, sir?
What I want democracy to mean, and what democracy means, and what it is in Nigeria may not be in the same pedestal. But let me first look into what it should be. Democracy should be, according to popular definition, a government that governs the people. And this government is formed by the people, the majority of the people. So this is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. For me, I would have preferred this definition to be practicable. But in reality, I have not seen where it is practicable in any part of the globe, any part of the world.
Parts of the world?
Yes.
It's not just about Nigeria
It's
and
not just
Africa?
about Nigeria and Africa. It is everywhere in the world. However, people see the practice according to the glass through which they are looking at it, the spectrum with which they are looking at democracy. Now, if a people organize an election and the candidates are from the people and the voters are from the people and the election is carried out, people voted, it is won and it is lost. Some people win the votes and lose the election. Some people win the election and lose the votes. The bottom line of it, for those who accept it as true democracy, is that it is done by the people. No outsider influence. If it is rigged, it's the people that rigged it. If it went free and fair, it's the people that allowed it to go free and fair. But by application of conscience, it should have been that if people say we are going to elect a leader, this leader should be somebody we want, somebody we trust, somebody majority of us have checked and adjudged him to be good enough to run this kind of task for the people. And they go and cast their vote. Their vote should be counted and the actual vote announced and the actual winner declared. That should be the proper democracy. However, you also know that to even select the candidates that will contest through various political parties, for those who practice party system. There are those who have independent candidates.
That's right.
For Nigeria, for now, we don't have independent candidates. Our law do not allow for independent.
It's all about political party system.
It's all about organized party system. Now, the question is, how democratic are the parties themselves? So when you have a party that is being controlled by a certain clique of people, or what they call the cabal, then you cannot even contest for the primary election if you cannot find your way into that cabal. In other words, it is not actually the people voting for a candidate of their choice. It is the people voting for candidates' choice of the cabal. So each cabal in each of the political groups brings out their own candidate.
Through the political parties?
Through their parties. And now bring these people to contest. When the election is done, definitely you know that ab initio, selection of the candidates was not democratic. So no amount of election you're going to cast will eventually be democratic. However, no outsider came to do it. It is the people that did it for themselves, to themselves. And fortunately, because whatever goes round comes round. Fortunately, they get sometimes what they have to have. Not what they bargained for, but what they allowed to take place.
So in your own terms, do you think what we're practicing so far, let's leave the globe now, which is very large, let's bring it home, Africa, Nigeria especially, do you think what we have practicing here is democracy? Or is it just in a theoretical form?
You see, we started with democracy. In 1998, there was real election, real democratic practice.
98 or 99?
98, 99. The party started 98.
Okay.
Election was held 99. Now, if you had followed the process of politicking at that early stage, you would have discovered that no candidate who has not enough grassroots support wins any election. And at that time, people go to the grassroots to campaign. You help people so that they will think you're a good person, even if you're not. You do good deeds that will commend you to the people that you're going to ask to vote for you. And so people had choice. Some people will come out and they'll say, no, this person is not it. In fact, in this Enugu state, there was a certain candidate that a certain political godfather wanted to hoist on the people. And he announced it to the people in the garden. Majority of the people shouted, no. You understand? So they went back. And then he started smoothing the ground, removing those who will say no from the next meeting. And when the meeting now came, majority of those who came are now people who have been convinced to say yes. And the person now announced again and said, last time we announced this person, I'm going to mention names. If I mention a person you know and you know you like the person, so that we don't make mistake, just say yes. He now announced the name of the same candidate and people say, yay! He said, with this, do we still need to announce another one? Okay, let's accept him. And he was accepted.
Very funny, very funny scenario, I must tell you.
And that was how democracy started gradually going down, and meritocracy started leaving the stage for the cabals to now come in. For now, I would say that to a reasonable extent,
at least we've been running uninterrupted democracy since 1999 till now. Is it democracy we're practicing?
Let's say we've been running civilian government since 1999.
Not necessarily
democracy. Because if it's democracy, you know that the last election, that
2023
election, you know that election, that the winner of that election won the votes, but he lost the election.
The winner of the election won the votes.
The votes.
As declared by who now?
as declared by the results, but the election itself, he lost it, as declared by the organizers of the election.
Anyway, that's a story for another day. We'll come to that point and when
Okay,
next.
if you want me to explain it for you, I will explain.
We'll come to that point.
The bottom line is this, that it is the people that did it. No outsider came to do it. Now, so we still call it democracy.
We call it democracy. Maybe Nigerian democracy now, because in comparative political analysis, where we want to compare the various systems of government across the globe, we are made to understand that we are copying American system.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know for you, Honorable, do you really think that what we are doing here is actually the American style of democratic governance? Or is what we just do here is written on the papers but not on the practical?
Well, my candid opinion is what I'm going to tell you.
Go ahead, sir.
We are practicing American kind of democracy.
We are practicing it?
Yes.
We copied it or we are practicing
it? We are practicing their kind of democracy.
What if I disagree with you, sir?
You are free to have your own opinion, but if you disagree with me, I'll ask you certain questions, and by the time you finish answering it, you come back to square one.
I will now be the guest and you be the anchor.
No, you come back to square one. Ask me why. Well, you see, in America, they organize their elections. We don't see the rigging, but it is done.
Rigging is done.
In America, of course. Why did Donald Trump and his people go to block this thing in the last election he lost?
Because he felt.
It is the feeling that matters. What else? If you feel that you won this election and it is being taken away from you by a certain cabal, you protest. You go to court.
The same Donald Trump returned and won another election.
Yes. That does not mean that even in Nigeria in next election that somebody like Obi cannot come and win an election. So it all depends on the clique. The clique in America were against Trump because he was clamping down on every man that has a stronghold in American economy. He was trying to distribute the wealth, and they didn't like it because he is turning servants to be equal to their masters. So they clamped down on him, and they made sure he didn't win. Now, the first time he won, you know there were rumors of rigging. Russia were brought into the picture.
Hacking the system as alleged.
Whatever you call it. But the bottom line is that somebody they did not expect to win won the election. Actually, Clinton, that is
Hillary
Clinton, won the votes. But Trump won the election. Clinton's votes were higher than Trump's vote. But because of American system of democracy, you have to win constituencies. He won more constituencies. But the masses vote. Hillary won more. So would you call that rigging? Well, so it's American system. That is what we're doing here. The only thing is that our own is too glaring. Because when amateurs play football, you can easily identify foul play. You remember 1986 when Maradona scored goal with the hand of God. He did hand, the referee didn't see it, and the goal was scored and it was counted.
Which was supposed to be considered a foul.
Yes, but it was the hand of God because an expert did it.
Was it really a hand of God, or was it alleged to be a hand of God?
Well, allegations and realities have a very thin boundary, because when an allegation is allowed to hold, it becomes a reality. That was an allegation, but every watcher of that football who was conscious of what was going on saw it and know that it was a foul. And then the referee said he did not see it. So he did not see it.
And whatever the referee did not see in the pitch of play, he has not seen it. It didn't happen.
Not now, because now, if it is now, the opponents will go and say, bring the digital recording of that
which
match.
They call VAR.
Yes, they will go and bring it, and then you now see him touching it.
The video assistant referee.
Yes.
Do we really have a VAR in our democratic setting now? These are more what we'll take up with you, Honorable, in the next segment, which is the part 2 of our discussion with you. Okay. For now, we want to go on this quick pause on the part 1. It's getting interesting, the discussion, as a matter of fact. So please, dear viewer, don't go away, because we're going to be sending you the next episode, which is a part 2 of this analysis of Nigerian democratic journey. How far, how well. Until then, stay with us. I'm Christian Mbah. We'll be back. Today, as I told you, we are having a chat with Honorable Marcel Njeze, who is a former member of the Enugu State House of Assembly, where he represented Udi North State Constituency and the Enugu State House of Assembly. And today we are looking at democracy in Nigeria, the journey so far. June 12th will be marked as Nigerian Democracy Day. So all of this and more on the show. Stay with us. All right, so let's begin again with you on this note, on this part B of the discussion with you, Honorable Njeze. Nigeria has tasted colonialism. Before the white colonial overlords came to our clime, we were existing on our own, different ethnicities on their own. The Igbo pre-colonial society was running more or less an acephalous egalitarian system. The northern people running a very core centralized system. But for the western people, it was alleged, or rather told, that they had a quasi-pseudo, centralized system. But then at the end of the day, colonialism brought all of us together and went through colonialism. But the colonial master slept, leaving us in the hands of people who came promising the people sunshine after the rain, and we'll call them the elites. The likes of Nnamdi Azikiwe, Sadana of Sokoto, Bafemi Awolowo, and the rest of them. All of a sudden, the military boys struck, claiming that they were the best people to organize a system. So we went into military in governance. But then here is democracy. For you, which will it be? Which will it be? Will you say we go back to the days of the colonial masters? Or do we go back to our separate ways so that each ethnic nationality will now return to their own system, the way we were before the white man came, before the amalgamation in 1914? Or would you say military in governance? Or would you say democracy, sir? Which do you think is most suitable for us?
Well, for me, no matter how much water is leaking in the roof of a man's house, it will always be better than sleeping in another man's house. This is our democracy, which we are nurturing. We are growing it. A time will come when it will come to near perfection. And no matter how we practice this our democracy, it will never ever be compared with authoritarian government. That is the military. In the first instance, how many projects do you see being done when the military boys were there?
A lot of them.
Well,
should I tell you one or two?
Whatever projects...
Our refineries were built by the military. States were created under the military.
Our refineries were not built by the military.
Maybe you have to tell us more now. That's my own knowledge. Apologies anyway.
See, when a house, a foundation is laid, and it has come out of the DPC level, and then the mason handling it was sacked. It's not just the mason that came and now put on the blocks that built that house. Because so without the foundation, the building wouldn't have been built.
Okay.
Let me tell you, a lot of projects started by civilians were abandoned by the military when they came in. A lot of roads in this country were abandoned. The ones they will do, they do it sometimes haphazardly. And they don't go for the ones that actually touch the soul of the people. That is the one the people wanted most to be done. They do the ones that will give them the leverage to their office and to wherever they want to get what they want. Now, if it is the military that is in government, it is true that it is still Nigerians that are running it. But these Nigerians do not seek your opinion, absolutely. I can recall one joke that was cracked by one of the early comedians. I don't want to call his name. He said that in the cabinet, they used to call them Armed Forces Ruling Council. Something came up, and Abacha was in charge. And Abacha now said those in support of what he wants to be done should raise their hand. Those who are not in support should raise their hand. There were 5 in the Armed Forces Ruling Council. 4 raised their hand. He counted it 1, 2, 3, 4. He said, okay, those who are in support raised their hand. He raised his 5 fingers and counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He said 5 won.
Oh.
And that's it.
He won. He was the umpire?
Yes.
And equally a participant?
Yes. So he won and the thing was carried out. In military, you don't even have a say. But in democracy, at least you have a say. You may not have your way, but you have a say. And I can tell you that when 10 people are saying the same thing, sometimes the man at the helm of affairs, even if he doesn't want to do what people are saying, will abstain, will remove himself from actually doing it, because he don't want to incur public wrath. But if it's the military, he will go ahead and do it. I recall when non-indigenous in Enugu State were asked to go. The person who asked them to go then was Mike Torre.
Okay.
I was a radio presenter then. And in my program, I said that I like what the governor of Enugu State has said, that non-indigenous should go. However, he is the #1 non-indigenous because he's not from Enugu State. He should live by example. You should first of all live so that others will follow suit. I finished that program in FRCN. It was called Day Don't Break then. I finished it, and within 30 minutes, some military boys came looking for myself in Jersey. Fortunately for me, I was the person they met first and said they are looking for myself in Jersey. And you know I know what I said. So I told them they should wait. This is his office. Because I'm sure somebody had told them, go there, this is where he stayed. I said, this is his office. Let me go and look for him and call him to come and meet you. They agreed. I went out and went to. They got tired and went to RAF Opera, complained. RAF Opera said I should be called. Of course, there was no mobile phone then. And of course, even if I had one and I'm called, definitely I won't answer. So the following day, I didn't come to read my news, because I know something was waiting for me. Then in the evening I came, and my friends started telling me, you're a lucky man. Do you know the military came here looking for you? Mind what you say. But Mike Torres stopped emphasizing on non-indigenous should go that time. He stopped it.
So the thing worked after all?
It worked small. It didn't. What he did is he stopped talking about it, but their salaries were stopped. So if you want to stay and not paid, it's your business. And no, who would want to stay and not be paid? So they keep going to work from Enugu. Every day they enter bus. Sometimes some go 2 times a week. It's civil service. So what am I trying to say?
Also, you're trying to say that democracy is better than any other form of government.
Democracy is the best that can be tolerated by the people. Military is not, should not even be brought into the picture again at all. You know, our fathers, the Igbos, were real democrats. We practice a system where you don't be a leader unless our people select you to be their leader. We have various stages, the age grade, the women's group, and so on. They select their leaders. They don't actually call it election, but they gather, and one person, through your works, you are asked to go and be doing this. We don't do election to select our military leaders then. It's through your valor. Those who want to be safe follow the person who is strong, and so he becomes the leader. But today, I read one piece where somebody is asking President Bola Tinubu to call his military leaders to order for the insurgency to stop, that they know what is going on. That there are too many major generals, lieutenant generals, and generals in the army. Where was the battle that they fought to become generals? The person was commenting that they should be given specific tasks to annihilate insurgency in various states. If the person fails, he should be removed and another person put there. That is to show you that it is no longer by your performance. It is by your long leg.
Man know who.
Well,
and it is called the Nigerian factor.
It is called the democratic factor.
Is it democratic or Nigerian factor?
No, it's democratic factor because you have your say. The leader have his way.
All right, because some persons have defined democracy as the people having their say, and a few. That's majority having their say, and a few having their way. Well, all of that and more. June 12th is here, and now it has become Nigerians' Democracy Day.
Yeah.
That wasn't the usual practice. It formerly used to be May 29th until the era of Muhammadu Buhari in government, where he said it's time for us to recognize the role played by late MK Abiola, in the fight for democracy. So in order to honor him, he said June 12th will not be a democratic day. How do you see that change?
Well,
it's a welcome development.
Whenever I say anything, I always say to me, I do not see the need for the change.
No need for the change.
I was expecting that the change will even revert to October 1.
Being our Independence Day.
Being our Independence Day.
Why do you want to?
Because that is the day it is assumed we became in charge of ourselves. Even though, as at then, we were not in charge. But it's assumed we became in charge of ourselves. It is our day of freedom. And democracy is supposed to symbolize freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom to say your mind, and freedom for the chooser to choose his mind. So it's an absolute freedom day. But for you to now go and use June 12th as the day of democracy, the day that you remember freedom, and you don't want to return to that type of election that was carried out on that day, because that June 12th, the real symbol why Abiola won election that could not easily be challenged was because it is queue behind your candidate. And if you're queuing behind your candidate, to rig it will be a little bit difficult. Not that it is impossible, because if you had watched during the collation of the last result, Dino Melaye stood up and said, this result announced is not the result gotten
during
from
the Goodluck Jonathan's era.
Yes, it's not the result. No, not good luck. During Buhari's era, the election.
I beg your pardon. A minister was one who reacted during Goodluck Jonathan's. What's his name again? Dino Melaye reacted during the last election.
Yes.
That's right.
And the chairman of INEC told him, go to court. And we all saw it. And we all know that what he was saying is true. Okay? Now, if it were stand behind your candidate, I think it would be a bit more difficult.
Option A4.
Option A4. Even for that chairman of INEC to make such a statement. However, they do not want to return to that option A4 because of obvious reasons. it is difficult for anybody who is on the seat of power to introduce a system that will remove him out of the seat of power, especially when he knows that he is not performing, when he knows that majority of the people don't want him. It's difficult to introduce such a system. I expect it to be introduced. Buhari introduced the beaver because he was not going to contest the election again. He thought it would be carried out the way he planned it. Unfortunately, he has a certain cabal who probably know better than him, and then they did what they did, and today we are where we are. If in the second tenure of Tinubu, he can introduce a stricter method that can ensure that our elections are transmitted, that we may at least have 80% real election, then we'll be coming closer.
Are you giving Tinubu a second tenure?
I have not seen somebody who is going to challenge him.
No one, even with the coalition moves.
Which coalition?
The coalition between Atiku Abubakar, El-Rufai.
They all want to be president.
What's his name? Rotimi Amechi. Even Peter will be from the southeast.
Peter is not among them. He has announced he's not among. But I can tell you that as they gather, once one person is picked, the rest will dissolve. Buhari was able to achieve what he achieved because Tinubu was able to get state governors to abandon PDP and join them, just for them to remove Jonathan. And Jonathan, being an elite, saw what was coming and said, oh, is this? Gentlemen, my being president is not a drop of any person's blood in Nigeria. Therefore, Buhari, congratulations, you've won.
Step on board.
And everything went peacefully.
So for you, signals are coming from the producer, we need to round up. Okay. So for you, has democracy performed for us?
Well, I would say to a very acceptable extent, democracy has performed for us.
It has.
But we are hoping for a better tomorrow in democracy. As it is now, it is manageable for us. We don't want to drop it. We want to continue with democracy. We want to continue working on it until a time comes when we perfect it. And it will be good for us, and it will be good for the country.
So what's your democracy message for Nigerians today, sir?
My democracy message to Nigerians is that I'm pleading with every Nigerian to please let your conscience be your guide. Let your conscience lead you to take decisions that will affect your children yet unborn. And this nation will be better for all of us in the future.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
On that note, we want to say this is where we'll wrap it up on the show, but then we also want to say we'll look forward to having you more and more on this platform. We wish engaging you more and more, sir. If you'll oblige our request whenever we get across to you.
I wish I can make things work for this nation.
Wow.
I believe that Aneke TV has come to stay.
Thank you, sir.
And in years to come, Aneke TV is going to be seen as a shining light that true Democrats will always want to identify with. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So, dear viewer, this is where we conclude the discussion with Honorable Marcel Njeze, a former legislative member here in Enugu State House of Assembly. Well, it is a democracy for Nigeria. We say congratulations to Nigerians, and we hope that democracy truly will bring the true dividends to the people. And to come your way again, I remain Chris Anibog saying bye for now.